This is going to get tight, quick, and it is going to get absolutely ugly.
Hey, I hit it dead on. I don't know if it can go any further northwest than it did, so it is right on that northwest corner. We're going to have a lot of mountains in that safe zone, and it is most likely going to center upon those mountains just based upon the percentage of the zone that is mountainous, and you're going to see a lot of fun fights there. There's a lot of options to outplay other guys, do a lot of flanks, get some smoke nades down. There's just a ton of outplay areas up there, so this is a fun one. This is one that feels very much back to the original, the Z1, where these guys all originally started playing. They are very, very comfortable in those types of areas, so it'll be fun to watch them play there.
Very excited to see how it does go down, but another thing to note is you just have less of a safe area when it does pull that far to that northwest area because of those hills. That's going to be a lot of dead space. Seeing Pineapples now inside of the Jeep again. It seems like every single match he is able to get that Jeep in the beginning portions of the game. We'll have to see what he can do with it this time. Prodigy Aces is going to see Flamehopper here get a few shots in with the rifle, moving back to the Jeep.
Nice two-hit there. Going to be able to grab that. A little bit of ammo. Not a bad little campsite. I mean, you got a shotgun, a two-hit. You got some AK rounds. Definitely a nice little spot to loot up.
Indeed, and we can actually see there, it seems like just has about everything needed inside of that kit.
He feels pretty good. He didn't grab that last helmet. He decided to leave it. Typically, you want to shred that, so that was interesting. So it looks like he's done pretty well on loot so far. He's decided he does not need the scraps from that helmet.
Yeah, one of the big things too is just helmets being an incredible thing to have against players of this caliber as well. We were talking about two taps can just come in at any time. We are going to see right now Body Armor takes a shot there for Gabezmon. Gabezmon still in this fight with Grimmy Bear, about 2 shots up here. Trying to take him down, moving into the forest, trying to find a good line, getting the high ground here as well. And you can see some serious strafing coming in, trying to avoid the rifling of Grimmy Bear.
Yeah. And they're going to go ahead and disengage, and now I'm thinking back at Prodigy Aces, he has a vehicle. I'm surprised he didn't throw it in the trunk, so he feels very comfortable with the amount of materials he has to just leave a helmet behind, especially when you can just load them up into the trunk of your car and carry them around with you.
2 players going to zoom on past each other. It's going to be Zeeth inside of that police car, dropped inside of this truck. Going to jump out here, definitely wants to get some damage into that police car, just such a high value vehicle. Throwing out a couple of shots there. We are going to see that Zeeth takes about 1 there. Now, as we do move forward through this scrapping phase, for anyone who is just tuning in, we should probably talk about the exact loadout that these players are going for.
I mean, these guys are looking for scrap materials to go ahead and be able to make their makeshifts. You need two helmet scraps, 4 composite scraps, and a duct tape to make those. They want to start stacking those up, loading them into their cars, carrying them in their backpacks. They want to have an AR, AR or AK for long-range engagements. They need a shotgun or SMG, possibly, unless they feel more comfortable with an AK in close range. AK very powerful in close range since it is full automatic, but you want 2 long-range weapons and a throwable in most situations. There are some guys, though, that are just 100% committed to their shotgun, so you'll see some of those guys still carrying it around.
Flamehopper and Blood Inferno both seeing each other on top of these hills in their vehicles. Jeep just being so great at moving on terrain just like this. Blood Inferno been so consistent throughout all of these matches. One of the top players right now to try to take this entire thing. You can see Prox right now in that a little bit far off in the screen, about 57 meters away. Prox came up big in DreamHack, grabbing 2nd place. Mountain FPS keeping this cover right now, moving back and forth. Finally going to see Prox letting those shots out, trying to get some damage done. We can see both of these players completely healthy, now aware of each other's location. It's going to be Mountain FPS trying to move around this fence. Helmet gets popped right on off.
Yeah, Prox gets that shot into the helmet and then misses the follow-up shot. He pulls down just enough to end up hitting the body armor. We're in a close-range fight here between Boxes and YT 2-Tap. YT 2-Tap going to be able to close that one out with that shotgun.
YT 2-Tap going to send Boxes home. And that was one of the big names going into this. And Boxes now seems to be in a pretty dire situation. Don't think he will be able to pop back up on that leaderboard. 71 players still do remain here. Gas is still going to be spreading. And already, if you are just tuning in, we want to note that this is one of the most interesting potential final rings that we have seen. That safe zone is going to be high up in those hills in that northwestern area of the map. And you can see right now it is just going to be clustered. Not that much playable area up there.
Players with some long journeys ahead of them still, but they are well ahead of the gas. You do have Crumb, Gas Runner, Omni, all those guys up in the northeast corner. A couple guys still a little far south. Most likely already have cars, or they would have been moving already. So I do expect most of those guys to make it to the safe zone with ease.
Jumping right on board with Gotaga right now. Hurrah, a little bit low inside of the building at this moment.
Vitality versus Vitality. One of these guys is gonna be sending a friend home in a minute.
And never feels that good, but with this much prize money on the line, you gotta go for it. Hurrah tries to use that smoke to get out of Gotaga's crossfire. Starts to move around the building. Gotaga gets a solid good 2 shots in here. Should be able to take Hurrah down with just another 2. Another smoke is going to be used here. Now inside of the truck, easy to get those shots right through that back window. Gotaga going to be able to send his friend home. Only one member from Vitality is going to be left standing after that engagement. Grimmy Bear moving on over. There's some pretty good loot over here. Grimmy Bear does seem to be relatively kitted. Illusions has some very high ground, trying to get as much information as possible. Does see Jerk Chicken. We can see Cloak even higher up here in the hills, about 400 meters off.
Cloak's in Narnia. Cloak is about as far up there as you can get. He is just gone. He has no intention of taking a fight anytime soon.
I really thought that Cloak may try to get way more aggressive here, maybe trying to go for that 5K, just knowing Cloak. Maybe when we actually do get to a tighter ring, he'll try to really turn things on.
He might, once it starts getting towards the end, especially if it decides to pull towards him. I mean, he's already got the high ground, so he can just kind of fire down, and there is more space left up there still. So he hasn't gone as far as he possibly can. Players are not used to going that far into that corner of the map at all, and it looks like it could possibly center right about where Cloak is. So he may be pretty comfortable there. He doesn't want to have to go outside of what the next safe zone might be and then pull back into it.
It does also play to Cloak's play style pretty well. He does have a really good shot. He should be pretty good in a long-ranged rifling fight. Prodigy Aces was taking a little bit of fire here. He still does have his Jeep if he does need that quick escape, but we're going to jump on board with Da FPS. Moving on under this bridge, it should provide him with some solid cover, and he does also have that police car to work with. A pretty decent crate is going to come down right now from the drop, but we are not going to see that hunting rifle.
Yeah, and when you get to one, you don't have a hunting rifle, it doesn't feel quite as good, but getting that 2-hit is still a really big pickup, and the majority of these guys only have makeshifts on, so they'll throw it into their car and then pick up that 2-hit. So that's still a much worthwhile, or very worth their time.
Well, Rizar and Drazzle are going to be the 2 players to come very close here. Rizar screeches on by, doesn't necessarily make the time to grab it yet. We've seen quite a few of those drops come down in wide open areas, so players not necessarily trying to go for them. We're on board with T-Hump though right now, and you can see that he does have some of those throwables equipped.
Yeah, he's definitely ready. He's got his 2-hit on. It hasn't been tagged yet. He is feeling very strong there in that position. Never feeling too strong. It is a battle royale game, so there's always a sense of danger, but you feel much more comfortable with a fresh 2-hit on than you do having a makeshift on. Yeah, and how he gets eliminated to a headshot there somewhere on the map.
Very different feeling in this game after you have been tagged. Rogue Sweet Dreams going to decide to be a mountain climber as well here, and this seems to be the flavor of this game. Some really nice shots being put out by Illusion, but he isn't going to find much purchase here into Shurima Wizard, trying to figure out exactly how to get these shots in. Has a decent amount of space between Illusion and all of these players, but just the amount of information you can gather from these hills is huge, and a player like Illusion will be able to use that to full advantage.
Yeah, I mean, Illusion, absolute monster player, and seeing him and possibly Sweet Dreams collide would be a battle of titans there. Geesh right down below. Actually, he's pretty far out there. I don't think he's coming up. He might actually be trying to go and finding himself a building to hide in. A lot of guys up in these mountains, though. We still don't see Cloak making much movement at all up there. He's still in the exact same spot, has not moved at all in this safe zone. Is starting to pull a little bit towards the center of that lake there, just off the left of Riki. CBK Flame is still got a ways to go. Flame must have been without car. and the cars in his area must have already been grabbed off spawn, but we are going to be hopping on board with Aqua 5 here. He gets a couple shots into Rhino. Rhino going to throw down that smoke. Grenades coming out from Aqua, trying to find Rhino in the smoke, and he is going to find it, and that's going to take Rhino down, and that is going to shake up the top 10 placement for him. If some of these other guys come up, that's a very early out for Rhino after taking down that last match.
This really just makes the playing field that much more wide open. We are going to see Rhino, one of those players who was able to get that top finish coming in game number 2. That massive amount of points should definitely guarantee him some money here, but now getting taken out this early at around 69th or 70th, this is just going to open the door for some new players to come up into that top 10.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was a beautiful nade from Aqua, getting the arc down to drop it on the far side and put it right on top of Rhino inside that smoke and take him out. So great play from Aqua.
Now, taking a look right now, we can see just how many players are going to be high up in these hills. So all the players who are at these lower points, their location may be revealed to these players like Jerk Chicken, who have situated themselves very high up. Stormin, we actually heard in an interview that he wanted to avoid as many fights as possible, and you can see here, he knows just how important, not necessarily going for those fights are, but just being aggressive in defending his location. Mountain FPS may go down here, get some solid shots into Drazzle, but from behind, Mountain FPS will get pinched by Rizar. Jordy able to take down Grimmy Bear, and we can see that one, he got the assist from Gavesmon. Just everybody teaming up against each other. Flamehopper inside of this vehicle. Kyreg may go down here trying to edge this one out, but Isco does come out on top. He was one shot at that point, so that could turn around, and you can see Stormin trying to move down the hills right now, potentially trying to find a kill.
Yeah, absolutely. Isco very patient there. He is going to finally go down. Takes a shot from Aladdin at one point and bleeds out to him. But he's very calm in that situation with the shotgun. A lot of the times when you get in those close range engagements, we talk about them being coin flips, it tends to go to the person that's a little bit calmer, holds his shot back, and ends up making sure that he's going to connect. So Isco was able to take that one down, but unfortunately goes down to Aladdin, who we're on board with right now in a fight with Stormin.
Stormin right now a little bit lower down. We can see Aladdin just thrusting out that grenade, but Stormin able to get back into that cop car, and he's going to get into that valley that is created by the ridges. That's going to give him some really strong cover, and we can see players like CBK Flame still trying to beat out this gas. The gas will advance in another minute and 30 seconds here, and we are in another close range fight, peeking out from the window, trying to get that shot there. Calsey going to go the opposite direction around this camper.
Yeah, Calsey trying to find it, comes out for a quick peek on that side to get Candy, misses it. Candy re-peeks though and catches Calsey. Calsey coming out just a little far as he pushed forward, and he wasn't able to quickly strafe back to his right to get behind it. That step forward ended up costing him his life.
Yeah, we've actually seen Candyman in quite a few of these close range fights here today, but only 60 players do remain in this, our third and final match of Legends. Harry Frogback going to be another one of the players that is high up in these hills.
And I mean, you can just see this everywhere. There's just mountainous zone all over the place. There's so many little areas where you can kind of try and make quick peek outs or start making quick pushes where you're not at risk of getting hit too many times. You can really start trying to close in on players to get into those throwable ranges. So it's really interesting to see how this is going to play out.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to note too is it makes the rings that much quicker, because you just have zones eliminated out from play because of those mountains. You just have part of that safe zone is going to be dead space. So it is getting much tighter here for these 60 players that are still up.
I think in the overall, with just how many mountains they are and the way that they're structured, you can kind of see on the top side of the screen here, the little ridges and the bumps and the little fingers on the mountain. It's that there's so much playable zone actually when you start getting farther up into it. So the farther up they get into these mountains, the amount of spots for guys to hide and try and make pinch plays and everything just starts opening up. There's a world of possibilities up there for these guys to make use of.
We've already seen those pinches starting to come in as well.
Yeah, Kolje here might try to take a couple shots down towards Jeesh. Looks like he's trying to find the angle. Jeesh has already taken a few shots at him, but he is behind technically in armor value. Kolje is going to be up to 100% here in a moment. Jeesh does not have any armor yet.
Sweet Dreams moving up the hill right now. We can see that Illusion already has found a pretty good situation here, maybe able to get some good shots in. They've both noticed each other, and a really nice shot is going to come out of Sweet Dreams. An explosion going to go off here. Sweet Dreams starting to rotate around, maybe does want this fight. I think it's the position that he is after. You can see Jerk Chicken in the wings here. Gas finally meeting up to that safe zone, and we can see Sicko still trying to rotate in. Gorani finally beating that gas for the first time here, but it is going to get that much tighter. It's actually going to pull a little bit southeast.
Yeah, it's interesting to see some of these guys not pushing quite as far as like Cloak and Gas Runner are, and they're just not utilizing any of that northwest part of the zone. Now it does start to flatten out a little bit once you get past that top peak, but there's still ridges and everything that you can use back there, and I'm just really interested to see why these guys haven't used it.
Yeah, well, a player like Blood Inferno going to be taken out here too. This is actually really important as well. We talked about Rhino getting taken out early and how much that can actually impact the standings, but now when we see at 58th Blood Inferno getting out, or 59th Blood Inferno getting out, that was one of the most consistent players throughout the two matches with very high finishes. Now with 57 players remaining, we see Stormin engrossed in combat here. It's going to be dropped on the end of impressive rifling. About 2 shots off from dropping him is Stormin. Dropped, trying to get some heals going, moving in and out of cover. You can see him dipping out to that left side several times there. Procs inside of the cop car. JP2 letting out some shots, going to get them into the vehicle, so he does take a little bit away from him in this fight. Stormin getting hit though now. This could be the pinch to take him down. Kevy falls to Riki. Another explosion coming in.
I think that he actually got caught by a nade on a long lob there from Drop. I don't know if he's actually getting pinched, but Drop is on the push off that nade, and actually Drop has decided to push away. He's going to use that opportunity when Stormin backed off to get away. Stormin with some great long-range shots. Not quite enough connections, though, to take him down.
Dropped and Stormin still neck and neck here. We can see Stormin ahead on this fight by a few shots. He's going to move away, though, due to positioning. Rotating around right now up this hill. Can move down this divot. You can see this cop car is just not in good condition at all. Already is smoking.
Yeah, it needs a new mechanic. Something's definitely wrong with that engine. And we've got all these guys going ahead and taking some cabins. Got some campers that are in, campers in terms of Candy, who is actually camping in a camper currently. But these guys are just trying to hold off a little bit. You don't want to go out and have to take engagements at 56, especially if you maybe didn't have that great of placement in game 1 and 2, or maybe you had middle of the road performances and you need a good one now. You want to avoid almost every fight if possible.
Yeah, and we will get to that moment soon as it does get a little bit tighter where we will see that kill feed absolutely light up. But for now, with 55 players still here, it is going to be Crank and Yogi right now in a little bit of a standoff. Yogi potentially using this Jeep to close space.
I don't think that Yogi wants to close space unless he has to. He's looking around trying to see if there's any safe spots that he can get to. He does get tagged once by Crank. It looks like he's going to go ahead and throw a smoke out over the vehicle, try and protect himself from Crumb. Stormin also firing down into Yogi. Yogi with only protection on one side, currently between his car and the rock, so he is kind of protected on both sides. Looks like he got his heel off to get stabilized and is going to drive out of that smoke and try and find a new location.
Candyvan letting out some shots here as well, and you already mentioned Candyvan was staying in this camper quite a bit. Location may not be as safe as it was a few seconds ago. Crumb using this police car, getting back inside it and riding the gas just a little bit, is going to have that at his back.
Yeah, the lights here are actually doing something interesting. I just noticed every time the arena lights up, every time somebody gets into a cop car. I don't know how I missed that all weekend. That's what's going off. Yeah, it just,
is that what that is?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It just kind of caught me off guard here. All sorts of stuff going on. Linden here with his patriotic Jeep up here in the mountains, looking for some shots down onto one of these players, trying to find Sicko FPS. Gets one connection into him, takes off the makeshift. Getting a helmet ripped off. Juan Correa really low here, gonna have to hop into the cop car on fire. Cop car gonna explode, has to ditch it, tries to lay down. I don't think he's gonna have enough cover, and he will not. Drassel gonna find his head and eliminate him down in 53rd.
Just like that, we're going to see another one come in. It's going to be Yogi. We found Yogi in a bad situation just a little while ago inside of that Jeep, trying to find a safe place, but finally going to pick up a kill. of his very own. Doug is raw, has a Jeep to be working with. Really strong here on this mountainous terrain. A few shots are going to be coming in, and you can see the vehicle starting to take some serious damage. Now on fire. Doug is raw, going to need to come out, but he's right on top of Illusions. He's going to have to take this fight here, and that Jeep flies straight out towards Illusions. Going to actually invest a smoke here as well. That's going to give additional cover. Yeah, you basically just created a car bomb, just shot his damaged vehicle right out at his opponent. Yogi winning that last fight, but not out of it yet.
Yeah, those car bombs used to be a big thing back in the day. Just set your car on fire for the lulls and just throw it at people and see if you can shoot your car and blow it up, use it like a grenade. Don't think that they're trying to make that kind of play here at the land, though.
Yeah, no need to be flashy with this much money on the line. Winner of this will be getting a huge amount of points, and whoever has the top points out of this game and the cumulative points from game 1, 2, and 3, this being game 3, will take home that $80,000 prize for first place. But a little bit more of a pool right now for the safe zone. Gas advancing in about 15 seconds here. More deaths coming in right now. We're going to see 2, and now Doug is raw moving in against Illusion, throwing out that Molotov. On fire right now is Doug is raw.
Yeah, Doug is raw on fire. He's trying to push up. There's a lot of different little things here he can use for cover, though. Illusion backing off. He's going to be out of trouble for a moment. We hear bombs coming through. Doesn't look like it's going to take anybody out. Shots now coming out again from Illusion. Gets him fairly low. Both down to 1 shot. Illusion's going to pull that one off. Has a heal already rolling. He is stable. He just got to roll a couple bandages to go ahead and get himself fully healed up. Doug does go down there. Adrian on the flip of his car, starting to get shots into it from Candyvan and 50 Shades. Down under 10%. Missing a helmet. Needs to get to cover. Gets the helmet in on the run there very quickly, and he's going to find cover and get some healing off.
Adrian found himself in a really bad situation there, but is able to recover here. Now inside of the building, actually going to close that door. Stormin still alive in this one. Guarani, though, has fallen down to Apex Shea. Both of those names, very high-end competitors here. Stormin at the top of this mountain. This is Flamehopper finally starting to advance a little bit further on. It's been really rough for Flamehopper here. Adrian has still has that damage to work with. Zeeth inside of that gas grenade, going to have to move out of this building.
Yeah, Zeeth's going to have to make a move out. JP2 and Bizarre both going to get eliminated here on that map. Was on the map elsewhere. Aqua 5 also going to go down here to Monster from Noble. And we've got some binocular game from Crumb, just trying to gain information. Crumb's definitely one of those more methodical players. We talked about it a bit at DreamHack, and when he's playing on teams, he's that guy that's gaining the information for you and letting you know what's going on. Head always on a swivel. So Crumb making great use of the binoculars to just try and gain information on where the other players are and maybe start planning what direction he's going to go to try to make it to the safe zone when it does decide to rotate.
Now jumping on board with Rogue from World's Best. Seeing Stormin right now with a decent line on Flamehopper as well. Doesn't want to engage, though. We've already heard from Stormin. You can see that he does have the binoculars as well. He trying to gain as much information. You talk about Crumb trying to do that. Stormin doesn't want to take any fights that he does not have to take. He's taking them out of necessity, but he does see Flamehopper there. Harry Frog Bat up above in these mountains. Moman behind the tree. This fight could happen here. Moman keeping an eye on Harry Frogbat. Gas about to advance here in another minute.
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to take the fight there. Moman, I'm not sure
Stormin
if they're
did it.
Moman.
He went for Flamehopper.
Yeah, he ended up going and taking that fight, and he does win it elsewhere on the map. We're not able to catch that one. Moman on the play, trying to make a push. He did see Harry Frogbat before. Steps up, gets the first couple shots, but gets the turnaround brought to him. Harry Frogbat going to drop Moman on the turn.
Just like that, we will see Harry Frogbat able to hold this position a little bit longer. We'll have to see if another player tries to come in and grab that pinch. Now some long distance shots are going to be rained out, but Rogue going to fall down to Memo.
Yeah, Memo coming up over the top there with that AK, sprays down and catches the top of the head. When you have that kind of height, you have a much higher percentage chance of catching the head, shooting down. Aladdin now trying to make a run there in that pickup truck. A little low, Gas Runner in a fight here with Illusions, looking for the SMG, something that we don't see that often, and it's going to work out for him, and he takes down Illusion.
I mean, Illusion just was so low there. As long as you just have one of those spray and prays go in, and that's one of the nice things actually about seeing that weapon come out there. Not usually the case that you do see it in, but able to cut down Illusions and not have to invest any ammo from a rifle. FPS seems to be moving around here, trying to get a look at Guiche.
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to go ahead and force Jeesh out of that building, using a couple gas nades to try and get a little bit of zone denial. Another one going to come out and try and force him out of there. But it looks like Dodge is going to throw it and get out of there. Teenage extremely low here. Jordy with shots into him. Going to throw out a gas nade actually to try and hold him from pushing. But Jordy finds the angle, throws the last shot, gets him, and Gabe Isman going to drop to Harry Frogbat.
Harry Frogbat moving through. Cloak, who was up in these mountains for just so long, may have to engage at this point. P90 Princess is going to go down off screen. Inside of the gas, we are seeing Molotovs being thrown out by Jordy, but back on board with Harry Frogbat, running right up to Cloak, trying to take this fight, getting some huge shots, should be able to take this one down easy. Cloak does fall to Harry Frogbat.
Aladdin now goes down elsewhere on the map too. Zeeth and Crank also going to go down to his good friend Yogi. Shurima now on the run here. Shots coming out from both Gas Runner and Prox into the vehicle. Car on fire, has to ditch it. Almost lands on his head and takes himself out with it. Gets a smoke down as he takes a shot to the back. Gets another one out, and he's probably going to take cover and heal up.
Jordy right now, we saw a little bit earlier taking those fights. Now in a position where he's going to jump down. This is going to be really interesting. He tries to take the fight. Falls down, though, to Cool J.
I don't think that he actually intended to go down. I think he overstepped just a little bit and ended up going for a slide ride there. Yogi going to take down Piney. Yogi just taking out teammates left and right. Sweet Dreams going to turn around and get taken out by his teammate on Rogue. Lifted, taking him down. Kolje going to drop to a grenade also by YT2 Tap.
We are down to just 24 players here. Carta up behind the tree, trying to see if anyone is nearby. And this is one of the crazy scenarios that we actually do see with this ring. I mean, look where this the potentially final ring is actually going to end up. Like, what type of cover are these players really going to have?
They've got little ridges. There's ridges everywhere. There's trees throughout. There's little campgrounds. There's a ton of little things to move and work off of. So we'll be able to see some guys make some good plays here. And we've got Prox now coming up. Shots coming out from behind. Tagged in the back. Knows that he has to press up and get this over this ridge line so that he has some hard cover. Goes into the smoke. He's just going to go ahead and make use of that. And Lifted is right inside it with them. Neither one of them can see each other. Smoke's gonna lift and Prox is gonna go down. It's one of those situations where we saw somebody get cover and the smoke disappears on them, kind of like Aladdin in game one.
On board with Shurima Wizard here after that engagement, but Lifted should just fall over. It's gonna be Jerk Chicken picking up this kill. The top 20, we are going to start to be able to pick out some of these names and see who may be able to finish on top. Y2 moving back just a little bit.
Yeah, YT2 Tap going to back up just a little bit there off of that gas nade. And we've got Da FPS here in the middle of this smoke nade in a fight with Drassel. He does have Monster behind him. Yeah, Carta picking up that kill onto YT2 Tap. Shurima here, though, getting healed up in this gas, or in this smoke nade. And we got shots coming out. Storm goes extremely low, stays cool under pressure, takes out 50 Shades, but catches it in the back from Memo.
Memo still inside of this cam, and we're on board with Carta, who is on fire here, needs to start to get the healing going to throw out a Molotov of his own, but Carta going to go down right now. LG Drazzle going to pick up Jerk Chicken, who had recently gotten a kill. Shurima Wizard does have the assist on that one as well. We have our top 15 as Zeeth does fall down, and as we can see, a lot of players opting to stay inside of this gas. Harry Frogbat slightly removed from the combat here. Crumb taking some serious damage inside of the gas, posted up behind that rock, and Thump gets cut down. He was one shot. Candyvan just comes out of that camper, makes this one a really easy kill. Crumb inside of the gas, going to throw out as many smokes as possible to try to avoid the fight in these last seconds of the game, but will just choke out here. And now we see Drazzle with a line on Harry Frogbat, who seemed to be removed from the fight, but it is Shurima Wizard to take the most ugly assault here, falling very dangerously low. Apex Shay inside the gas, going to choke out with a Dren, and Harry Frogbat comes out on top from Drazzle, and we see that Harry Frogbat might just get cut down right here. He does put down the smoke, but Da FPS should be able to get some shots in, getting that Molotov cocktail right into that POI, but Harry Frogbat still staying up here. We do see Memo fall down off screen as well. Candyvan hanging out in the camper should go down here as well.
Yeah, Da FPS trying to get some Molotovs off there. Not quite able to connect on a Harry Frogbat, but he is going to step out, and it looks like he walks through the gas nade, goes down to Da. We're now back on board with Razar here. Haven't seen a ton from him yet this match. We'll see if he can maybe set this up. He does not like this camper whatsoever, getting his knuckles warm as he punches it up, and we can start to see how this is going to edge out. A ton of kills there, just open up a lot of ground for all these players to work with. Each guy kind of having his own corner. Nightwalker taking a little bit of damage there. Rizar down to almost 10%, and we have Rizar in the smoke nade. We can see him right there ahead. Hail Blood Inferno, or Hail Prodigy Ace is going to hop on board, gets Flashbang, running around trying to find it through the flash, still manages to find Jeech and get the kill. Now pushing up, has to stop to heal though.
Rizar is one of the main players to be looking for here, already having a high finish, and we can see if Rizar can just stay out of this fight a little bit longer, already in the top 6, the amount of points that Rizar can grab here may be able to propel Rizar into a top placement. We can see a decent spread right now between our players. Rizar is inside of this camper. We have Nightwalker hanging out by this tree. If these two players get into a fight here, this could be the most important fight for our entire Legends tournament. Inside the camper now is going to be Nightwalker. He can see that clear line onto Rizar, may actually shoot out. Both of these players going to go for it. This is going to be absolutely huge. Nightwalker gets cut down by Rizar.
Yeah, Rizar, I think, has gone ahead and locked himself in. I don't know that there's anybody left alive that can get enough points to bump him out of that #1 spot. We'll see if he can maybe do it again and take down 2 games out of 3, though. It would be a really impressive thing to do. Monster gonna find Candy Van with that shotgun on the head tap, and we are down to 4 players remain in our final game of Legends.
We have our players in their 4 corners right now. Both Rizar and Noble going to be inside of that smoke for just a little bit, but FPS and Prodigy Aces may actually start this fight a little bit early. No one wants to be the first one to step out. FPS going to be on top of this hill, moving back and forth into that POI, just checking all of his bases, trying to find the best place to stand. Right now, he does also have that gas at his back. That is going to ensure just a little bit, not going to get pinched here at the end. Noble Monster now stepping outside of that smoke finally, and it is just a moment until we actually see one of these players try to light up the skill feed.
Yeah, we're going to see this gas start moving in just about a minute here. None of these guys really want to be the first one to move. This is their last chance to take down a match. All these guys just kind of hanging out, and we are going to see that safe zone be very close to Rizar. Rizar with the shortest distance to travel to it, but towards the center there, he's going to have some cars. Everybody has cover on their way in, especially if they have a smoke nade or 2 to throw out. We're going to see all these guys have to collapse into each other in the middle of this.
Prodigy Ace is starting to inch up just a little bit. FPS seems to be the one that could punish him for this. Prodigy Ace is trying to avoid that, though. Playing it very patient here. This could be what, oh man, moving up right into that shot could be so dangerous. Rizar right now behind the camper can see Noble Monster. Noble Monster inching up just a little bit as well.
Yeah, I mean, this is the calm before the storm. This last part always plays out crazy. Rizar gets tagged a few times from Monster. Rizar down to 36, trying to get behind these tents. Not able to take cover, though. The bullets go right through the tents. They do not give hard cover. He is going to step out into the open, trying to get away, and Monster is going to finally get that final shot into Rizar, but I think that he is probably taking this one down, and he's feeling very good about his placement here today.
Yeah, definitely, and the main thing, too, to look out with Monster, he's able to take out Rizar. So that does actually potentially jump him up a little bit. Rizar, though, definitely in a commanding position here. We will have to see with how this match actually does play out. But on top of that, getting that kill puts Monster in a great place to potentially take this game as the #1 finish and also take down the additional 5K. And FPS going to get cut down by Prodigy Aces. And now it is all on Monster to jump into this fight. He is ahead, and Monster going to be able to just take this one. And look, 5 kills as well. $5,000 going to go to whoever had the top amount of kills.
I do believe that is going to be Monster. I believe with that kill, he wins the game, and he takes home $5,000 to line his pockets.
And hey, taking that first place should jump him up in